The following program is an original production of WYCC PBS Chicago.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lauren Cohn, and welcome to In the Loop. After one of the worst recessions in American history, the White House is claiming 6 years of economic growth. And there is cautious optimism as the national unemployment rate holds steady, with more people looking for work. But while economic upticks are happening all across the country, Illinois' job growth is lagging. So what will it take for Illinois to catch the economic wind that's blowing across the country? Illinois faces tough competition from other states looking to lure jobs and business. And for mom and pop shops struggling to get by, the state's high fees and red tape have some packing their bags.
The school, Hillcrest?
Hillcrest.
Yeah, definitely going to be missed around here.
Thanks.
Mario Olivi never thought it would come to this. After nearly a decade in business, he's closing his store, the Olive Tap in west suburban Downers Grove, Illinois.
I really feel like I'm being forced to leave.
There is a genuine sadness here as shelves are almost empty and the last remaining inventory is scarce.
It's 3516.
Olivi opened the franchise shop after his computer company of 11 years folded. He was working odd jobs trying to make a living and took a chance that selling fresh olive oil and other gourmet foods would be a hit.
What we have here is walnut oil and dark chocolate balsamic, just a sample of what we used to sell.
And he was right.
It was phenomenal right away. We had positive cash flow right from day one. The first Christmas was unbelievably busy. The second year, 2008, the second full year, was up about 10%.
But just about 2 years ago, sales fell flat.
In Christmas of 2014, good extra virgin olive oil was available at Bed Bath & Beyond. So the big stores are getting into the business. And there's no way we can compete on price against the big stores.
So Olivi, who had also put himself through culinary school, came up with a new plan to build a demonstration kitchen and teach customers cooking skills. But he was told his kitchen did not meet DuPage County health standards. He would have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to comply. He then tried to sell fresh salads with his olive oil at the local farmers markets. But again, government permits cost too much. So with sales dropping off and upgrades too expensive and timely, he just couldn't manage it.
It made no business sense to do it. Like I said, $20,000 before I sold my first $6 salad.
Fed up, he and his wife are moving to Colorado.
The taxes are lower because it's just more friendly towards business. It's more welcoming towards business. The permitting and regulations make more sense. They're more rational. Property taxes are lower. Workman's comp is lower. Unemployment insurance is lower. It's just better for business. All right, there's these two. I'm not ready to retire. I was born and raised in Chicago. You can tell by my accent I was born and raised in Chicago. I've been here for my entire life. We have roots here in Chicago ever since they came over from Italy in 1909.
Small business owners like the Olivis are not the only ones fleeing Illinois. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Illinois lost 6,300 manufacturing jobs in 2015. One company making the move is Hoist lift truck manufacturing, located in south suburban Bedford Park, Illinois. Owner Marty Flaska, a Chicago area native who has been in the industry since high school and built this plant in 1994, says it was a tough choice.
I think it was a business decision based on dollars and how it would impact our employees.
The company builds forklifts and ships them all over the United States, but it took a huge hit in the recession.
Our largest order cancellation was almost $2 million. And so that was devastating. We had to go from 300 employees to 75 employees to survive.
Flaska says the high cost of unemployment insurance plus worker compensation began to cripple business.
When we looked at it, 95% of our claims were fraudulent, meaning fraudulent in my eye that a scratch finger or 2 stitches in a finger shouldn't be worthy of $4 grand, or someone breaking their ankle shouldn't get permanent disability and get $1.5 million.
Flaska spent years rebuilding, finally able to hire most of his workers back. But the business climate in Illinois hasn't improved. He says neighboring states offer better multi-million-dollar packages and tax incentives to relocate. He's now almost finished moving to East Chicago, Indiana, where he has a new facility with more space. He plans to hire more than 500 workers.
In this community specifically, I can have an employee buy a home anywhere within probably a 10-mile range, and I can lower their cost by at least $1,500 a month between sales tax, property tax, and the cost of a home. Can put them into unarguably equal school or better school, and in places like Hammond, get free college. In the state of Indiana, if I needed an environmental permit, I probably can secure it in 1 week. In the state of Illinois, it takes months. It's completely dysfunctional.
Flaska says lower taxes, more job training programs, and the cost of living make Indiana a better fit for manufacturing.
I didn't want to do it, but when I realized what was involved for everyone, it would make it easy for our company to retain employees, hire new employees, and grow our business. I would say it was not emotional. It was more, the numbers were, there's no comparison.
Joining me to talk about Illinois' economic outlook are Jonathan Honing, founding member of Capitalist Pig Hedge Fund, Angela Miles, host of the syndicated TV show Business First AM, and Mike Moyer, author, entrepreneur, and professor at the University of Chicago and Northwestern University. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
A lot to talk about. First, Jonathan, let me start with you. Reaction as we see obvious stories of people leaving.
It's sad. It's disgusting. It doesn't have to be that way, Lauren. I mean, in a free economy, there's an unlimited amount of wealth that can be created. There's an unlimited amount of jobs that can be created. And I mean, here in Chicago, you've seen it. I think the population of Chicago from the mid-1800s to the end of the decade quadrupled with massive economic growth. So it doesn't have to be like that. We could be exploding in economic growth in this city, in this country, in this state. But it's the policies from government that needs to change. And that package just alluded to just a few of them. The taxes, the regulation, that's what's hindering job growth in this state.
And, you know, there's a recent Gallup poll, Angela, that found half of Illinois would leave if they could. Are you surprised by that? Half of the people here would leave.
I think that is sad, but I would just like to talk about the story that you just reported on so terrifically. And I have to say, though, he's getting hit by a couple of things going on here. It's a double whammy, really, because olive oil prices are skyrocketing. Olive crops are hit so hard right now in Spain by drought and then in Italy by disease that he's paying 20% more probably for every product that he's putting out. So his margins are literally getting squeezed here. At the same time, we have a big issue with the stalemate that's going on between the governor and lawmakers in Springfield, and that is hurting a lot of businesses here. They feel like they cannot move forward until we have a budget.
Mike, you're an entrepreneur. Is Illinois just business unfriendly?
Well, I'm a little more optimistic about things. I think that entrepreneurship in Chicago is wonderful. There's a lot of tech going on. There's companies starting up all over the place. So I'm a little more excited about it. The whole idea of people wanting to move out. I always wanted to move out because of the weather, not because of the economic situation. Right. So, but you know, it's heartbreaking to see these guys suffer, and it's heartbreaking to see the small businesses suffer. But ultimately, I think there's a lot going on in Chicago to look forward to, and I'm a little more optimistic going forward.
And Angela, you brought up the good point about the governor and what's going on with the budget. So how do you think his agenda is affecting our economy?
Well, I think something you have to bring out, too, is that certain sectors are hurt more than others. And he is in manufacturing, which is a tough area. He's in olives, as I pointed out. But at the same time, small business growth is strong in Illinois. We are actually towards the top of the pack. Even as the national small business numbers are declining, we are hanging in there with resilience. So people who are starting up companies, for the most part, are doing very well. So
it's a fun place to start.
It's a wonderful thing.
First of all, you want a small business to become a big business, right? I mean, it's great to start small businesses, but I think, you know, Lauren, your piece exemplified, I think, the real issue here. Here's a small guy, an entrepreneur, who wants to become big. He wants to grow his business, right. But what's hindering him? Not the customers, not the demand, not even the pricing, but it's the regulation that's going to cost him $10,000.
Wants to become a big business.
Well, they want to make money, I would assume.
Sure, they want to make money, but tech companies want to grow to billions of dollars. I'm not sure the Olive guy wanted to grow to $1 billion.
My guess is actually he would have wanted to grow to $1 billion business, but he can't get over the first 10,000 because it's imposed by government.
So let's bring it back to what the governor's doing and coming in with his turnaround agenda, and the way he's running the state right now.
There's a problem. Business leaders, and I won't give anybody away, but people who own some of the top companies in this town, just in Chicago alone, are really frustrated with the governor. They want something done. It's not enough to just be standing on ceremony over collective bargaining, and I would say it's even just union busting. Is it going to be worth it in the end when people who are running these big corporations can't even move forward because they're not sure what's going on with the budget? And I think they're feeling frustrated because we elect these people to make decisions and we're not getting any results at all.
Can I comment on that? One thing you've noticed, which I totally agree with, is this general confusion about what's going on in the first place. I'm not even clear what the policies are at any given time. All I know is there's fighting and fighting, even at the lower levels of government, in Illinois. And I don't know that to be true. That's not true in other places. It just doesn't feel like it's true.
Well, I mean, I don't know the intricacies of the policies, but I know that we have the second highest sales tax. We're talking here in Chicago. I believe the highest, if not the second highest, property taxes. And you get taxed everywhere, Lauren. There's a Netflix tax now in the city. There's higher taxes on things like Uber, small companies and small entrepreneurs that are wanting to grow. So, I mean, it's frustrating because for the small business, let alone the big business, they have two options. And especially now in this interconnected internet era where you don't necessarily need to be near the financial centers anymore, why wouldn't you defect to a place which is a more business-friendly climate? So the governor needs to understand that.
So let me give you some numbers. The Illinois unemployment number for 2015, 5.9%, well above the national average, which is 4.8%. So when you break down what's happening with jobs, and you mentioned, Angela, big corporations. We see the headlines, Walgreens is laying off, Mondelez is moving its plant to Mexico. But these bigger corporations are also moving their headquarters downtown. So it gets confusing. We have layoffs, we're not hiring, we're moving downtown. Where is the business moving? Where are the jobs?
The jobs right now are in technology, pharmaceuticals, legal, packaged goods, cosmetics. Those are areas that are doing very well. Those are the pockets of strength that we see in the Midwest happening here.
But can we count, Jonathan, on those big businesses, those big corporations to be hiring again? Or is it the small business owner that's going to spur our economy?
Well, I think you're seeing a fundamental shift in just the nature of the economy. You're moving from a manufacturing-based economy, and this is certainly here in the Midwest and certainly in Chicago, to a more service-oriented business, a service-oriented economy. I actually think that's a good thing. And what hurts that job growth, what hurts the potential strength, is when you get government involved. They're going to start picking winners and losers and give, for example, certain incentives to businesses that they want to stay that are paid for by those of us who don't have that political cronyism. So, whether it's going to be services, whether it's going to be pharma, whether it's going to be high tech, no one really knows that for sure. The idea is get out of the way and let the entrepreneurs decide which way this economy should grow.
It has to be said. National unemployment at 4.9%. I know Illinois is high right now, but we are hearing from Challenger Grain Christmas, which tracks everything labor. They are calling this the best job market we have seen in a decade.
With the worst credit rating? Chicago's credit rating is last in the nation. Oh, wait, Detroit is worse. We're one up from Detroit, Angie.
Oh, there's no problem. I don't disagree with you at all. Illinois is in trouble. I mean, the unemployment rate here is horrible. The employment rate is now at the lowest level since 2009.
But
so people are not hiring because they don't know what's going to happen next with Springfield. It's trickling down to us.
And that's a good point. But Mike, would you say it's a good reflection of the job numbers? Because plenty of people have dropped out of the workforce. Those numbers are not included, in addition to the fact that we have a lot of people today that are working several jobs.
When you say that people have dropped out of the workforce, you have to remember, though, the quit numbers are very high because people are comfortable with leaving the workforce. So a woman might be comfortable staying home while her husband works. I mean, it's not just people who are giving up.
They may not be staying home. They may be working at a startup company.
They might be starting up a company,
which is freelancing. I don't know if you talked about freelancing earlier. Yeah, so
that's one thing.
I'm not officially in the job market, but I've got a lot of employment going on. So I think as people leave the job market, there's all kinds of other opportunities that aren't maybe counted.
I started up a company in the past year.
So you're no longer in the job market. Are you counted in the job market or not now?
Possibly as a
freelancer.
Employed? You're right.
Well, and that's just it.
Working for myself.
The point is being made. I mean, you know, things like Groupon were started here. So we still have this opportunity to be this great incubator. But again, I go to something very as simple as, let's say, now a 17% hotel tax in the city of Chicago. And you might think, well, what's 17% here or there? But for the business person who's going to be flying associates in and out, this starts to add up. And it makes any other locale look a lot more attractive.
Taxes are tough, no doubt about it. But the one thing, when you are starting up, your startup costs are so extreme that you do get money back from the government for starting up.
She says with a smile.
Because I'm counting on it. I have spent so much money this year.
Well, it's not all doom and gloom. There is more to talk about. And one economic area with high projected growth is the technology sector. Mayor Emanuel and Governor Rauner are so pro-tech, they are pumping millions into making Illinois a hub for these high-paying, high-skilled jobs of the 21st century. Helping hundreds of tech startups get off the ground is 1871, a not-for-profit incubator for digital startups that launched in 2012. The ideas for these new businesses can come from anywhere, including drinks among friends.
Ah, there it is.
It started as just a simple idea.
We thought, there's got to be a better way to connect with people.
And now for two moms with sales and marketing backgrounds, it's turned into much more than they ever imagined.
We thought, well, what if you could use wearables to find someone in a crowd that was near you and shared an interest and have a way to start a conversation with that person and grow your personal network.
Lisa Carroll and Christine Hutchinson started working on their concept 4 years ago. They launched Proxfinity.com, a digital startup that helps professionals attending networking events connect with the right people who can grow their business.
You select a corner, check the interest that you're interested in.
Event planners hire Proxfinity and have attendees fill out a detailed questionnaire about their personal interests and personal information. The data is loaded into a smart badge and lights up once the socializing starts. You look for your initials on someone else's badge.
If you have 4 things in common, they go red.
By the end of the event, you go home with a list of new contacts, even appointments for follow-ups. But the road to results hasn't been easy. Both women left their jobs, spent time away from their families, and Lisa Carroll estimates they spent $500,000 to get here.
This is a roller coaster.
It wasn't until they joined 1871 last year that their company really started to take off. 1871 is Chicago's digital startup community, located in the Merchandise Mart in River North. It was designed for technology startups to share space and ideas for a few $100s a month. Businesses also have access to experts, mentors, even investors.
You can have an idea, start to test it, you get some real feedback really quickly, and so the investment, isn't as high as if you had to kind of do this on your own.
1871 CEO Howard Tolman says that was his intention when he launched the entrepreneurial hub of designers, coders, and technology experts in 2012.
And when 1871 started, it probably started with 50 companies. By the end of this quarter, here under one roof in one facility, we'll have 500 companies.
1871 has grown from 300 jobs to 10,000, with salaries ranging from $35,000 to more than $100,000. Members have access to a health insurance plan and pool talent from local universities.
The last 10 years in the United States, there's been no net new job growth from any sector other than startups. The cost of technology has been reduced so much that the traditional gatekeepers just don't exist. You don't need anybody's permission to try and start a business. You don't need anybody's multi-million-dollar investment.
Tolman says on average 5 out of 10 startups will succeed. Lisa Carroll says Proxfinity has booked more than a dozen clients, including one in Japan, and progress so far has exceeded her expectations.
Having it as an idea and now seeing it in action has been all worth it.
Okay, back with our panel. Mike, I'll start with you, the entrepreneur, pro-tech. Is this where the future is?
Well, I love 1871, and I go there all the time, and I know Howard. It's a wonderful opportunity, and I think that the cities all over the country are doing this, all over the world are doing this, because they know that job growth, as he says, is from startups. And Chicago is really taking the bull by the horns. At the University of Chicago, Northwestern, they're all participating in a very real way in fostering entrepreneurship, and you can see it. I mean, people are enjoying what they do, and one thing that is besides the taxes and the turmoil and the political, this is a fun place to live. There's a lake, there's all kinds of nightlife. Chicago is a great city to live in, and I think people are attracted to that, and they want to be here and start companies. And you've seen that companies grow and be successful from that environment.
So is this something, Angela, that the governor and the mayor are doing together and right? Because the Illinois Treasurer's Office just announced a $222 million investment into tech growth, saying it's not coming from the operating budget, it's coming from investment funds.
It's absolutely the right thing to do, especially when you have Silicon Valley out in San Francisco and then Silicon Beach in LA. Chicago needs to get on the map, and this is how we're going to do it. And as you mentioned, manufacturing is slowing down. We just don't produce things.
We're going to do it through cronyism, though, Angela? I mean, you know, as Lauren talked about, this
city is built on cronyism.
Well, not the successful parts of it. You know, I think about the financial sector back in the turn of the century. That was a startup, and that was privately funded by businessmen who came together. I actually think it was a shoemaker as well, was on the original board of the Chicago Board of Trade. What worries me is that, you know, when government gets involved, once again, when the governor, when the mayor start to pick their investment favorites, their investment buddies, are you telling me that the mayor and the governor know a better investment than some of the private equity funds that we have in Chicago, that some of the great investors and entrepreneurs we have in Chicago? This is not something for government to get involved with. And believe me, when those pensions don't meet their targets, they'll get the money. They'll get it just as they're getting now through taxes on the rest of us.
So who do you think should, what's your plan then? What should happen here?
Loosen the restrictions. Let business thrive. I mean, again, there's no reason why this couldn't be the next Silicon Valley, but it's not going to happen through, you know, and I go back to this, the difficult environment. And you're right. I mean, this is a wonderful city. I've lived here all my life, and I have no intention of leaving, but they make it more and more difficult just to get over that hump.
So you want less government, less regulation.
There's no reason why, again, there's an unlimited amount of jobs that can be created in a free economy. But, you know, when the government's taking $200 million and pumping it into their crony favorites, that's not where wealth comes from.
That's not clear what's happening here, though. It seems like they're starting in entrepreneurship. You know, when government officials are involved in entrepreneurship, they see the pain of the entrepreneur, and they can design an environment or try to design an environment that benefits the entrepreneur.
Well, can't they design an environment that benefits every individual, whether it's a big business, a small business? Why are they going to benefit what they think are entrepreneurs versus anyone else?
Let me just bring education into this, because one of the things that Howard Tolman told me is that they're pulling from the talent, engineers, computer, from our own schools. You know, which I think is terrific. So he said that, you know, getting from, you know, the University of Illinois is not the same as getting from MIT or Stanford. And so they're working with, you know, helping, you know, the educated get jobs. Do we need to invest more in our educational programs and partnering them with companies so that these kids that are getting out of college get a job?
Well, if you think of entrepreneurship, and specifically 1871, and there's probably a dozen similar types of organizations, the education that I see that's important in entrepreneurship is helping kids get through their startup phase. I mean, when I started my first company in college, it took me forever to figure out how to do anything. I had to buy my own copier, I had to do all kinds of stuff. But if you can put them through a structured program like TechStars, which is based in 1871, for instance, and help people understand what the steps are to be successful, that's an education that's worth investing in from the tech standpoint.
And is that a good point from a political standpoint of we need to invest in educating our young so that they are able to get jobs, and that will improve the overall economy, Angela?
It definitely would help. We talked to Career Builder, and there still is a big skills gap problem. There's companies that have been going long-term without workers because they can't find people to fill those positions. So that's an area that is hiring at a decent pace here, but we definitely need to be educating people to prepare for the next juncture of where we're going with society. And, you know, I know that you're not big on government, and I get it that there needs to be some sort of happy medium, but, I mean, you look at Governor Rick Snyder over in Michigan. He was so against any kind of help from the federal government, and then the Flint water problem erupted, and now he's begging the federal government.
Well, that was a failure of government, actually. I mean, I mean, we don't want to get sidetracked, but actually, you know, there was EPA results that were hid. Again, we're getting off track. But Lauren, your point about education, of course. So let's start, for example, with Chicago. There's been plenty of funding for education here in Chicago. It is probably the worst public school system in the country.
So should CPS go bankrupt? Should we let it fall into bankruptcy? Is that the answer?
I think if the government wants to take some big pro-growth steps, privatization, certainly of the public schools, would be a great place to start. Now, that might be pie in the sky, but something as banal as, for example, like parking at the airports or some of the roadways, I mean, not only would this be great money that would come into the state and be able to plug up some of these budget holes, but believe me, these services would run a lot better. And this has been seen anywhere it's ever been tried in the world.
Not a chance. I think public education is wonderful. I know a lot of terrific teachers. They would love to see just that much more money coming in to help what they're doing. I completely disagree with you.
What do we need to do? What more do we need to know? What programs or ideas that aren't out there, Mike, that we're not doing in Illinois?
What I see from my vantage point is startup companies being successful and then moving out of town. We've had some big wins like Braintree and Groupon and sticking around town, and the merchandise mart has turned into a thriving place for startup companies, and they're sticking around. But I also hear other stories like this forklift company, people moving out of town. So we're doing a good job seeding the environment, getting the jobs in here, but they're losing them through the big companies leaving town, which I think is a struggle. How
Angela,
do you do that? Not quite sure.
Do you see a recession in 2016?
I think there's a potential for a recession, and I think, again, it's coming from Springfield. And I think that, you know, when you have people who need public assistance showing up at the jail for help, you're hitting, you know, the city and state colleges, you're hitting big corporations that are starting to feel the pain of this, it can trigger recession. We've seen it in history before. You know, we had the Great Depression, and then lawmakers were like this for so long that we started to go back into recession. And we've seen it with our own national economy, where we had that huge recession and there was just a lot of gridlock, and it does not help to stimulate the economy. You know, we probably at that point needed to be putting more money into building roads and our infrastructure, and that would have increased what was going on nationally as well. Same situation here in Illinois. We have the potential to have a recession, absolutely.
And I've been more worried because, you know, Lauren, as we pointing out the whole program, whatever the national numbers are, we're worse here in Illinois. And the fact that we're just, in Chicago especially, one step up from Detroit, what makes me worried is recessions come and go. We could be in the midst of a multi-year, multi-decade, essentially disintegration, not unlike Detroit, as companies, as we've been talking about, continue to leave the state, leave the city. So memo to Springfield and to City Hall, they need to do something now to reverse what's been a long-standing trend of people leaving the city and leaving the state.
And unfunded pension liability, putting us off the fiscal cliff. It's a disaster for the state.
And it's not something that can be easy to be remedied. It's certainly not something that can be remedied overnight. But, you know, business isn't just like a faucet. Wealth isn't a faucet. You can't turn it on and turn it off. It needs to be grown. It needs to be seeded. Unless these conditions change, I don't see that trend changing.
And now we're paying more to borrow money because of the situation that we're in. So it's just becoming very costly.
Well, I appreciate all your points, terrific information. We could continue to talk about this, you know, all day and all week. It's all very fascinating and interesting. But that does wrap up this week's episode of In the Loop. I would like to thank our guests, Jonathan Honig, Angela Miles, and Mike Moyer. And to learn more about our show and our guests and our stories, we invite you to log on to WYCC.org and link to In the Loop. Until next time, I'm Lauren Cohn. Thanks for joining us.